Chris isn't here, who usually leads these off, so I guess I'll kind of jump in there. Chuck is our guy who, as you know, he looks out for all the hyperlinks we might need as we're talking along, and he pops it out there in the chat. So pay attention to your chat for those messages to come along. And if we rename ourselves as to what status we're at, whether interested, whether we're liaisons, etc. Let me tell you what the coupon is this time. This is our first time of being able to offer a sponsorship. We have a Culver Art and Frame up in Columbus is sponsoring us, and there you go. This is Culver Art and Frame. I've used them since 2008 when I first got incorporated, and they have like 2,400 different types of frames. They guarantee their frames. Super people to work with. Definitely recommend them. I talked to them. They were interested in trying to help support us. So the way they're going to help support us in this, and this is only you guys get this. Nobody else gets this. Like the people who watch it. 20% off your next frame order. And here's how to contact them: 1-800-882-2298, or you can email them at culver@culverframe.com. Either way. As long as you contact them and reference, that's how they'll know it's part of this. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, that was over $100 off my last frame order with them. So I was really excited about that. So that's not an insignificant offer. That's something we can offer here for you guys who are live on the call. For people who join or watch the video later, they don't get that same offer, but we certainly encourage them to join us live every time we have one of these calls. That's my little promo thing, and we'll mention them kind of halfway through and at the end as well. But definitely recommend Culver Art and Frame as a frame supplier for you. That was my ad.
Well, everybody get excited. Say whoo!
Yay! So James, I think today's your day, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Why don't you dive in there and
it looks like we got Don is interested in becoming a CPP. Is that correct, Don?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, all right, dude.
Good. And Deb, you have your exam in about a week and a half, something like that. Good luck.
Yes.
Let me see if
I did the practice exam and I got 71, but still not where I want to be.
Right.
So I'm still pushing it.
Yeah. Have you watched all the videos? Because that's part of what we're going to talk about today. Did you go over videos that are on the PPA website?
Is those the Kozak videos? I listen to him all the time. Yeah.
He's got a ton of them. So let me see if I can.
Deb, as important as understanding all the information is understanding how to approach those sorts of exams. And on the CPP study group page, I put a post out there a long time ago that talks about, I think there's 5 different strategies for taking this type of exam, none of which talk about the content of the material. All of them is strategizing how to do multiple choice tests and whatnot. Take a look at that. If you can't find it, call me or email me, and I'll be glad to take you through that. But that may be as important as anything else for you.
I think so, because I'm tensing. I'm doing it to myself. I'm tensing up, and then when I look back over the answers of the ones that I missed, I knew it, and I'm like, why am I freaking out?
It might be the way you're approaching the exam. You're right.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look at that post today. You said it's in our group.
It's in the CPP exam study group. Yeah.
Okay.
Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep, sure can.
Okay, good. Okay. So on here, we're going to go to just type in CPP here. There it is. Search. And here's where we go to register for the exam, the candidacy form, the FAQs. And this is pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of FAQs about how much does it cost, becoming a member, about recertification, once you pass your exams, and then it takes you through, well, as you can see, a lot of different things right here. We're not going to go through all this, but this is where you'll have any question you have about the CPP that we haven't answered or you don't want to ask in this process. You can go through here and look, and I guarantee it's probably in here somewhere. And all I did, like I said, is from the very beginning at the search window, I just typed in CPP. And what I like to do is we're going to search for videos. So in the educational section, I go into the videos here. There we go. And there's a lot of great videos in here covering anything and everything you can imagine. There's, I believe, over 1,000 videos in here that you can look for. But for what we're talking about, we're going to search for instructors. Okay, here we are. So you can go by instructor. If you know you like a certain instructor, you can follow their classes through here. But for our test, or we'll start with Kozak because he's going to be more about the written test. If we go in the K for Kozak, there's Steve right there. Click Steve. And in here, you're going to find all of his videos. So, and there's one, let's see, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, he has a ton of them. I got them bookmarked on my YouTube page.
Yeah, the YouTube has them as well. In here, the good thing is you can follow them from beginning to end. Basically, every session that Steve has given is in here. And it covers every section of the test. And that's how he has it set up, just like the test is.
I think I'm going to look in PPA, then I'm going to go from here.
Yeah, so if you're looking...
But it's only my biggest hurdle again. My biggest hurdle again is in the lighting section and the equivalent exposure. So I look under exposures and...
So you're looking at, like you said, equivalent exposure. Let's see. Here's exposures, which he talks about here. The inverse square law and 716 rule. Again, that's all about exposures. Let's see up here where he has it, what section it is. And these right here, these are actually the test sections. The ones with the blue borders, those are exactly the test type questions that he's covering. Okay. Let's see, exposures and meters. Here's lighting. He's got lighting section A and B, lighting section C. All these are lighting through E. And these are the best. Like I said, this is what I did. I took all these classes here online, and then I actually took Steve's class in person when we met like once a week. That way, if I had any questions, I could ask him. So at that time, I didn't know about this group. If I had known about this group.
Okay.
But it really helped me. I mean, I did really well on the test taking just these classes.
Okay.
And then when you get past
you say, James, when you say the classes, you mean just listening to the video?
Yeah, just each video is, I call it the classes because that's what I'm talking to you about.
Basically it is, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Once you pass that and you get to the actual technical part, then you want to go to Jamie Hayes's class. And there's other people, but Jamie Hayes's class I liked. So that's
for technical though, right?
This is for the technical part.
Okay.
And he lines out starting right here. As you can see, he's got, if you have a natural light, if you're choosing natural light or continuous light or electronic flash, which electronic flash is definitely going to be your easiest of all these because natural light changes constantly every second. So that's hard. Continuous flash is not bad. I've never tried it. I mean, I haven't done continuous flash other than natural light since forever. I mean, I don't even use continuous lights really, unless it's a concert or something like that. And then he's got how he sets up. He even actually goes through the setup guideline for the CPP technical evaluation. So basically, he walks you through exactly how to set up everything.
On to the lighting scenarios.
So we'll go back to the beginning. So he walks through. Make sure you have all the pieces that you need. And then he shows you how to set up all the pieces as well. And measuring it, he measured it. He got how to set up the crayons, how to set up everything, and he walks you through it. It's the easiest way to do this. Because I did this exactly like Jamie showed it here, and that's it makes it a lot easier because when I read the instructions, it was kind of hard for me. I was trying to read it and trying to figure out what they were saying, but then I went back and watched Jamie's video. Then I understood exactly what they were saying. The funny thing is I set up my technical 3 different times. The first time I did it, I realized I had my settings wrong. So that was after the fact on the camera. Then I went back,
Okay.
took the pictures. Then I realized the crop was too big because I could see the edges of the frames of the gray cards. And then I went back and set it and did it, and then I just submitted. Every time I did it, I did exactly like the same setup every time, took it down every time and reset it up. So I did it 3 different times. The last submission, all I did is I metered my light, I took the pictures and submitted all of them and passed with that. So now on the books, for books, I know there is the photography book, and you can get that at, you can get it online. You can get it as cheap as, I think we found it for $30 for the PDF. But I got my book at half price books. I don't know if you have those, but I think I paid $40 for my book. It's an older version, but I got mine years and years ago. So I don't know if they how much it would cost nowadays. But basically, I would suspect that you could still get it for at least half the price, and that way you have a hard copy of the same book that the quizzes come from. And a lot of the information, what I've seen, it hasn't changed a lot. My book, I think, is at least 10 years old, and it's still relevant on questions and answers to what they're asking. Yeah. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got one. The London Upton book seems to be the number one one. It seems like 70% of the questions are from that, or at least covered in that book. What would be the number 2, in your opinion?
Chuck, Don, Ron?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Somebody else went through and
Chris?
looked at it.
Well, a lot of people do say that they like Steve Kozak because he kind of cuts to the chase and doesn't go off on, adding more information than there is to the particular element that he's speaking. But I think it's personal preference, because some people use Chris Duncan, some people use Steve Kozak, some people, just use the videos. I mean, it really depends on how you learn and what your learning style is. And the only reason I use Steve Kozak, because that's what I found and that's what I could afford at the moment. So
yeah. When you say Steve Kozak, you're talking about his videos on the PPA.
Yes, but he also has a book, and it's called I think the website is passthecpp.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can download his book and print it out.
Okay, thank you.
I don't like to, yes, Steve Kozak and Chris Duncan would probably be my next choices. I don't like to downplay any material that PPA has endorsed. I will say this, the Al Alderman stuff seems to be, it might be going away. I can't confirm that right now, but within my group, my Sunday group, it seems to have caused some controversy. So I would kind of, at this point, maybe lean towards Chris and Steve. It depends on whether you're a video person or someone who likes to read. The London and Upton book is someone it's a reader's paradise. I will put it that way. Whereas Steve and Chris kind of put their programs around video, which, for me, it captures my attention. I learn better from video.
Yeah, Don, as far as I go, I mean, I really, in reflecting back, I really hit the London Upton book and primarily used that. Then I found where the holes were, in my understanding, based on some of the practice exams. And then I went and I filled those holes in with like groups like this, where you've got people who really know what they're talking about, who you can go to and you can trust the answer that you're going to get is in line with what the PPA is expecting, okay, and what is technically right. And I find that conversation that I had with those sorts of things was a lot better than trying to finally hunt for the right printed source that gives me it in different language than what I saw in the first place.
Now, you mentioned previous or practice exams, plural. I just saw the one, I believe from 2015. Is that correct?
Well, I know there's several of them out there. A lot of times, like and I don't know if Kozak has one or not. I know there's one that's on the PPA website, but there's several others that are out there as well. What I was actually able to do is I actually called the author and I said, "Hey, can I just buy your practice exam? I don't necessarily want all of your printed material. I just want the practice exam." He sold me the practice exam only. So I got that like for $59, where it would have cost me like over $200 had I taken the whole course from him. So that,
What author?
Think outside the box a little bit if you want to.
What author are you speaking
I think that was the Alderman, I think.
Well, that was the exam we had real struggles with.
Yeah, that was a while back. I got that, but I'm sure things have evolved. I mean, the content even has evolved since then too. So.
Well, yes, and we'll talk about it later.
Don, to answer your question, Don, PPA, they have the practice test and it's 50 questions. It's not 100. Steve Kozak has in his program, if you buy the book, you get practice tests for each section, as well as 100 question exam that you can do and print out, and you get the answers and all that stuff. So you get to see where you're struggling. So that's what I know, because that's what I used. I do not know about the Chris Duncan site. Maybe someone else here would know about that. He also has a group. Chris has a Facebook group too, and he answers questions quite a bit too. If you want to look that up, you can be a member of that group as well. And Steve Kozak's group on Facebook. So you can kind of do all three and ask questions, and things like that.
Thank you.
And Rebecca said Steve had a sale recently, it looked like on Facebook possibly, so to join his group. I think it's
Guy T put that out. Guy T put that out a few days ago, and it was only good for a few days, so double check it and make sure.
Yeah.
So Chris, you said the London and Upton book is a good read, easy to read.
If you like to read, it's a great resource. I guess my point was I'm not a huge reader. I own 2 copies of the London and Upton book.
It's a big read.
Yeah, it's very exhaustive as far as covering all the topics.
This is
I learned better visual and hands-on.
Right, exactly.
So our Sunday class and this class has really been helping me. I know where I'm messing up. I'm freaking myself out. It's not the material, because when I look back, I knew over half of the ones I got wrong. I mean, and I'm looking and kicking myself like, how did I do that? And it's just a matter of me slowing down, and I'm definitely going to look at those different strategies that Ron is talking about, because it's all in my head. I know.
A little food for thought, Deb, is that once you take the test, it's destroyed. Your score is not told to anyone but you, and they don't care and they don't keep it. You either pass or fail, and that's the bottom line. So it doesn't matter if you pass the test with a 71, but you know the information, you're going to carry that information into every session that you do in the future. So, if you're looking for a particular number, you might be just putting too much stress on yourself for that number, because basically it's a pass or fail. Really, they're going to tell you your score in an email, and then that's it. It's kind of done after that. Mm-hmm. That's not kept information. And I don't think images are after a certain time either, but I can be wrong on that.
Hey, Deb, I do have a question for you, and you mentioned this a little bit on Sunday, that you were going to go take the test by, virtually again. Have you ever taken the test in person?
I have. I've taken it twice in person. I've taken it at Imaging once, and then at one of the RockThat conferences.
Yeah, I just wondered.
Taken it.
I just wondered if it was a different, maybe it would help taking it in a different way other than virtually.
I
You know,
think
sometimes
I,
people rush through the process when they're taking the test virtually. I know for me, if I had taken the test virtually, I probably would have messed the thing up royally because of my thought process.
mhm.
I needed to have the physical paper and look at, okay, these are the questions I put on hold until I can go back. How I take a test is different from a lot of other people, but I will go through and answer everything that I absolutely
Mhm.
know, 100% know the answer to, and then go back and answer the questions. And if I'd done that virtually, it would have messed me up.
Yeah. Um, in person is definitely, with me doing it both ways, in person is easier because I take it exactly like that. I go through everything that I know first, and then I got all that time to sit and ponder over what I don't know in person, and it's just right there. So it makes it a lot easier because it's a hard copy versus.
So the thing about doing it that way is you've got to resist the temptation to go back and change an answer that you
Oh,
already
yeah.
knew.
Yeah.
Because
Now I'm saying you go
if you
back and
knew
work
it,
the
you
ones
knew
that
it.
you didn't
You know?
answer. Yeah. Right.
Hey, Deb,
Um,
I just put the link in the text or in the chat for that
oh,
link you're looking for.
okay, great.
Just to quickly go back to Don's question earlier about the references, I just went through the 50 question tests that PPA has on there, their sample tests. 38 of the questions come from the London and Upton book. 9 come from Ben Long's book, and the remaining 3 each come from a different book. I don't remember who did them. So London and if you can study and get all the information you need from London and Upton, that's more than enough to pass the test.
Hey, Chuck, would you say that some of that other material is also included in the Leonard and Upton, but maybe just in a side fashion, or
I didn't research it that deep. All I did is look for what references they use. London and Upton was on 38 of the questions. Ben Long was on 9 of the questions. The remaining 3, each one had a different book.
because when they talk lighting ratios, I think everybody covers that,
Yeah,
so.
that's probably in all of the different books. But yeah, definitely London and Upton is the
Gold standard.
yeah, it's the gold standard, the main Bible to look through. And especially one of the biggest parts to look through and learn is the glossary.
Yeah, but I would say the Leonard and Upton book is not necessarily the easiest to read, though, either. It is the closest thing that I've seen to a consumer textbook out there. I mean, you can read something, but to really internalize what it's saying takes you a minute. You really need to kind of absorb it. You can't just read it like you would a storybook. You've got to read it, understand it, and then try to get an example in your head as to where it's used before you can really walk away with a full understanding of it. So
Yeah, it doesn't give you it doesn't give you the real people way of doing it. It gives you these technical specifications of how everything is. But the glossary is a big help because a lot of us, we use terms that we understand when we're doing photography, and that may not be, and a lot of times isn't the same terms that PPA is using on their official tests. So we've got to translate between what I use, the words I use, and the official words. And the glossary in London and Upton was a big help for that.
One thing I liked about Steve Kozak's videos is he would chuckle, and then he said, now you're going to find a lot of stuff on YouTube and this and that or the other thing. He said, but frankly, this is exactly the way it is, the fundamental of maybe it's inverse square law or something. And he would say, this is it. This is the bottom line. And this is what you need to know to pass those particular questions on the CPP exam, because people do a lot of side research on things and can often get led astray easily.
The other thing I would recommend too is don't look at it as trying to learn it to pass the exam, because you need it to pass the exam. Yes, it's a little bit like driving. you don't learn to pass the driver's test for the sake of just holding the license. You're going to be expected to do it when you're out there driving around to keep from crashing and stuff. And that's the way this should be looked at the same way. You know, you get your CPP, and that's gives you permission to drive. But you know, clients are going to be expecting you to know how to do this stuff. So don't learn it from the standpoint of just getting a piece of paper. Learn it from the standpoint of, okay, now I'm more capable to go out there and handle those clients who might have unique or special needs.
And anytime that you can, I strongly suggest that anytime you can pick up your camera and apply whatever you're trying to figure out to the thing, do it. You know, if they're talking about equivalence, then take a series of pictures based on the equivalent factors and see it, but what it looks like, because then you will be able to put that into practical use, and it'll make more sense to you when you see it on the test too.
Yeah, let me give you a good example. I mean, 2 weeks ago, my wife and I got to shoot a wedding reception, and they wanted to have a great big group shot of everybody, right? So they had a stage there, so we got up on the stage, but we had and we were allowed 2 shots because the bride and groom wanted things to march along and didn't want things to get too boring, right? So I got 2 shots. So because of the CPP, I knew how to set up my lighting. I knew which lens to use, which focal length to use, where to stand, all the different aspects of being able to put that shot together. And I got it in 2 shots. But, you know, unless you've got that awareness of how all that fits together, you can't stand up there and shoot and then try to adjust and shoot and adjust and shoot and adjust. They're not going to tolerate it. And you're not going to. And as a result of that, she sent us a $250 gift card to a restaurant. she appreciated the way we handled that so well. So, you know, that plus other parts of the evening. But you know, that's just a sign of appreciation of them and respecting us as truly doing it in a professional way. And that's what the CPP allows you to do. I got a $250 gift card for that. Yay. You know,
I guess what I was,
my bill.
one of the, I bought 3 books, and one of them was this one. And it's mainly just, there's not a lot of necessarily, from what I've seen thumbing through it, a lot of photography, but there are a lot of color swatches. So I don't think this is going to be as beneficial to me passing the exam, though color knowledge and contrasting colors, it might. But so I'm trying to make my future selections here a little more carefully.
Well, I mean, I don't think that book is irrelevant, you know, because on the exam, they do talk about complementary colors and split complementary and all analogous and where they are on the color charts and all that. And it is important for establishing, you know, what you combine is important for establishing moods. So I think that is an important part of kind of what your job is. But I mean, is that the core? Probably not. I don't think London and Upton does a very good job of covering that. So that book is a good way to fill that gap in, I think. Just be careful, because the artist's color wheel is not the same as a photographer's color wheel. So compare those 2 and you'll see the difference. But there's definitely different primary colors for sure.
Yeah.
You're talking about the difference between subtractive and additive?
No,
Yeah,
well, RGB are the photographer's primary colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And red, blue, and yellow, I think, are the artist's primary colors. And as you think about it, really, it's red, blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow. Think of it like that as being.
Okay, yeah, that's the subtractive. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but they don't call it cyan, magenta. They call it red, blue, and yellow.
Yeah, and Steve Kozak's training covers both the additive colors and the subtractive colors.
Mm-hmm.
And me, before I took my test, I grabbed my blank piece of paper and I drew both color wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wrote down all the shutter speed stops, aperture stops, the ISO stops, full stops. So I didn't have to stop and think about it.
And Deb, that might help you out too when you go to take your exam, is to prepare your cheat sheet, if you will, ahead of time a couple times, and that way when you walk into the exam, it won't be quite so you won't have quite as much anxiety about walking in and forgetting something.
Yeah. By the time I took the exam, I had a huge pile of brain dump sheets.
Yeah, he
Because
didn't.
every time I took the exam, I wrote out my brain dump.
Yeah, Chuck
The
didn't
exam,
have a beard when he started preparing.
threw it away. Well, my beard wasn't all white back then. I've also put a link into a program that you can get a 15-day trial period that is very helpful. I didn't find it until after I got my CPP, but it's helpful in seeing light. It's called Settlite 3D. And you can actually use different lights, lets you choose different lights, different light modifiers, put them at different power and different positions, and see how it affects the subject that you're photographing. And that makes it if you're having trouble grasping, seeing the light when you change something, I found that is very helpful. Like I said, I think it's like $80, but they have a 15-day free trial. And just use a dog squeeze out of it for 15 days and then get rid of it.
So here's a challenge for you, Don. You know, in your preparation, come back every week with a question or something really cool that you figured out in between each call. But utilize this group as a way to kind of help fill your gaps in. You don't hesitate. We love questions like that.
I also put in the chat a link to the CPP. It's actually the header page. Midway down that page, probably not even midway down that page, there's a link to download the CPP Candidate Handbook. I highly recommend that you download that handbook because it has all of the links to the reference materials that we've been talking about. It'll take you right there, right from the PDF if you're reading it on your computer. Obviously, you can't punch a link on a piece of paper and go there. So do it from your computer.
You can, it just doesn't work well.
No, it doesn't work well. I always put a hole through the paper with my pen trying to get there. But anyway, so that would be a good place to keep you within the PPA referenced materials. And I think that's a good place to start. Once you have exhausted all of those reference materials, you've been through all of those and feel confident with everything that they've talked about there, maybe step outside of there to different books or different, if you want to go that far. If you've gone through all of the PPA materials, reference materials, you probably have all of the resources you need to pass the test.
Okay, but just FYI, I mean, I just looked over here at my library of books that I generally go to. I've got more than 20 different books that I go to, whether it's, and some specialize in posing, some specialize in lighting. I got one book here that just talks about food photography. Okay, so don't feel constrained, but be careful as part of the exam anyway. Be careful where you go to for all that. Stick primarily to London Upton and the approved sources. But over time, I've collected a whole host of different books that I go to, when I'm having to go off on a particular weird direction.
Yeah, what I'm kind of trying to focus on now is making sure that I do have everything that makes up the core, and hopefully uses the same terminology that they're expecting on the exam. So those are kind of my priority, because I have a lot of interest beyond just passing the exam, but I want to make sure I get the terminology and whatnot, all bases covered there.
Yep. Understanding how they ask the question is a big part of it, to see what they're looking for. Hey James, did you have more material you wanted to go over, or did you want to hit anything we haven't hit already, or
No, I think we covered pretty much everything, because everybody went back over some of the material I was going to talk about anyway. So I think we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone, I know Deb's, I guess her boss showed up, so she can't really say anything.
Hi, boss.
But you know, truly, I'm my own boss. I'm just doing volunteer work at my church.
Okay. Well, that's
So you
good.
still got to call the pastor the boss.
Definitely the boss.
JR said to tell you guys hi.
Who did?
JR.
Oh, okay, great. Well,
Any other questions, Don
Um,
or Deb?
the background on Ron, that looks like Cincinnati. Is that from a riverboat?
it's actually from the Kentucky side over on Newport on the Levee.
Okay.
I didn't take that. I stole that. I completely stole that.
Okay.
I'm not claiming that's
Chris,
mine.
I had a question for Chris. Chris, what is the deadline to sign up for in person with you?
Need to be signed up. I would give it no later than Friday.
No, okay.
They're
I
gonna
think, I
they're
don't
gonna
know.
close the link. Yeah, they'll close the link this over the weekend, and then they send me the materials on Monday.
Okay, so by Friday.
Yep.
I'm still thinking about maybe foregoing.
I would encourage you to
That
do it in person.
$25. I have that $25 credit up on Park the U. So I'm like, do I just forego that $25 and just take it in person and just don't worry about it? Because if I take it online now and need another chance, then I have to wait 30 days. So I'm in a dilemma if I just, because I had to keep rescheduling out.
Right. Deb, this is my suggestion. You set yourself up for every possible success. And if you are better at paper pencil, then do it paper pencil.
Mhm.
Because if that's where your strong suit lies, then that's where you want to be. You can always use ProctorU as a secondary in case it doesn't, turn out the way you want. But when you receive that email, which I know you're going to, that says you passed,
It's gonna be way more worth
under Chris,
way more worth
$25
$25, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I took mine paper pencil, and I wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't.
I don't know about you, Deb, but when I do it in paper and pencil, I don't feel nearly as rushed as I do when I do anything online. Online, I kind of have the sense of, gotta answer.
Yeah, gotta hurry up.
Yeah, and when I do it in paper and pencil, I'm there for the duration, and I just know I'm going to be, so I can, now it's just a question of how I allocate my time. It's not a question of how quickly I can get it done. That's just me, though.
I tell you what I do, Deb, and this is for you because you've been hanging around so long. If you sign up, I'll give you a $10 Starbucks gift card to make up for at least part of your loss.
You already gave me the $25 camera gift card, so that's it right there.
There you go. Well, that one you got through PPFM. I will give you personally. I'll give you a $10 Starbucks gift card, and we'll get you there.
See, Chris, my answer was already yes before you even offered that. So
there you go. There you go. I'll give it to you Sunday.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign up.
So, Don, that is another good point. Deb and I are part of the same state affiliate, and we do attend some local affiliate meetings together. So we kind of have built a rapport. I do some stuff on Sundays for a study group similar to this that's affiliated with my state. So I guess my point is, and I know Don Davison would agree with this too, Mia would agree with this as well. I know they're very active in their affiliates. That's a great place to kind of learn and get face-to-face, one-on-one with people, and don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, we're always, we did a shootout, I guess it's 3 weeks ago now. And we got another one coming up here in Michigan. And we do also do some fun things. We're getting ready to do a picnic this coming Sunday for our photographers. We're going to be able to do some provide them a service of, doing some family portraits for our photographers, because we know that photographers never get portraits done. So I would encourage you to do that. That's another place to get, some good interaction and learn some stuff and continue on learning. So.
And your test exam, I believe, is in Traverse City, if I recall.
The one
correctly.
in September is in Traverse City, yes.
Okay.
And that's already up online. It is already up online. You can sign up for that. It's actually going to be proctored by another liaison, but I'm helping her to promote it, and I will help her to proctor. I'll probably help with the sign in, that type of thing.
Okay. And Ron, I believe you said that you've got an exam coming up sometime?
Yeah, August 21st.
August 21st.
Yep, that's over here in Middletown. You're in Indianapolis area?
West Lafayette, yeah.
Oh yeah, so you can be 1 to about 3 hours away for that then. So I recall my college days driving down that way.
Middletown is that a suburb of Cincinnati?
Just south of Dayton.
Oh, south of Dayton. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, doke.
Not far away.
I was curious also, how does it work if you take it online? Do you need to, do you have like do they get a screen?
Well,
Their screen or something to proctor you, or?
It is handled through a proctoring service, a test taking service. They do, I'll be upfront with you, they do take over your computer and kind of make sure that you're set up to, be honest about your testing. They make sure that with your webcam that you've got nothing in your surroundings that would provide you answers. Let's see what else. So there's some tips behind that service that we can provide if you decide to go that direction. It is not free. It's a $25 fee. But you also, one of the advantages of it is you get your results almost immediately within the 24 hours afterwards, unless it's on a weekend.
I'll tell you what though, one of the advantages of coming over here and doing it on the 21st is that I will buy you dinner when it's done. How about that, huh?
All right.
Food.
We're not above bribing our people to take our test with us.
And
I
the one on
almost
August,
like all this bribing.
I missed out.
this is all being recorded,
He's trying hard to do the right thing here. It's like, you gotta try to help people who are trying to do the right thing,
And where would I sign up for the one in Middletown?
If you go on the PPA website, I'll email you the hyperlink, but if you go onto the PPA website and search CPP exam, one of the hyperlinks there will take you down to the page to register. And you have to enter in like the city you want to look for, and then it'll tell you all the exams that are possible.
I'm putting it in the link right now.
See that 10 times.
I happen to be there.
In the chat.
Cool. But free food, beer drinker.
This is for any of the in-person exams.
Okay, good deal.
You just tell it where you want to do it, where you want to take the test.
And Chris has mentioned a couple times about when he went through and got his CPP, he went through as part of a group, and the group is hung together and help support each other over time. And I kind of feel like that's what this group is here too, except it's national because we're from all over. But you should look at this group as kind of being your support group, your brethren, brethren and sisterhood, I guess, as you would think about it.
And with your affiliate.
I care about you guys. You guys are putting in a lot of effort to do the right thing, and I invested in you.
And with the affiliate, if you go to your affiliate, there might be other people that are studying for it or wants to, and they live close enough to you where you guys can get together, and then you can, ask us questions if you guys get stumped up or whatever, because everybody has different expertises in here, as well. So
I mean, even right now, I have to put together a 4 foot by 12 foot banner for my local high school choir. And I'm kind of trying to find my creative angle here to make a background for it, and that's where I take some of my colleagues I go to just to get a creative spur, because they're doing different things than I am. And because they're doing different things than I am, I get drug off into different directions that I would have gone had I just sat here and thought about it. And so, I use the group a lot of different ways, but this camaraderie is a very important tool that a lot of those folks who just operated in a little bubble don't have. So leverage it.
Have you learned about the hashtags yet, Ron?
Have I learned about what?
The hashtags.
Hashtag. You're teaching me.
Copy and paste them into the things that you put on the site, and they'll just automatically come up in the topics.
You're teaching me, girl. That's what I love about you. That and your ability to talk without moving your lips.
Just ventriloquist.
There we go.
So Don, tell me what areas you think, and really maybe more importantly, Deb, what's the area you think you're weakest in right now that you'd appreciate a little bit of discussion? The reason I say Deb is because she's like on the edge of going and taking it,
Yeah, she just moved her date up by 2 days too.
Well, I think for Deb with the equivalence, it really is just kind of memorizing that like you do your f-stops.
Right, and we got a cool, we got a cool what was it, Chris? Little chart.
It's a spreadsheet
in our class on Sunday.
One thing to think about on the equivalent exposure part there, Deb, is that the CPP exam is written to try to be easy. Okay. It's written in full f-stops. There's no half f-stops or third f-stops, so that's a good thing. But also too, if you look at the distances they use, like for two strobe lights that are of equal intensity, right? If you put one at 8 feet away, how far away do you need to put the other one to be twice as bright? And the answer is, think about the distances as being like comparable to like your f-stops. So if one is at 8 feet away, the other one will go at 5.6 feet. Like instead of f8, 5.6. So those sorts of correlations the exam is written to kind of leverage that kind of correlation to make questions easier to answer. Okay. Did what I say make sense to you just now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And likewise, if you needed 4 times as bright, then it would go down to 4 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So but it all relies on the strobe lights themselves being of equal intensity, at the same distance away. But so look for those sorts of cues to help answer the questions more easily.
And I believe it is set up that way, that the lighting and then the questions and the lighting questions, it's all equal settings. I mean, it's just.
I mean, I have my lights in my studio set up that way, just because I don't have to think about it. I can just rock it right through everything. When I go on location for my business headshots and whatnot, I set it up that way because that way I know exactly where to move things if I want to change the light by a certain amount. And so it's exactly that reason. I wouldn't have done that had I not taken the exam and they asked questions the way they did.
And it all leads to Sherman. It makes it a lot easier. There's no struggle.
Yeah, I don't think they try to make the questions really as complex as people might fear.
I think one of the things that spreadsheet, it's very similar to the chart that James Martinez gave a while back. In fact, that spreadsheet could be cut apart, Deb, and done the same exact thing that he does. But one of the things that I had never thought about when putting one of those spreadsheets or that chart together is it is set up from the very top of the chart to the very bottom of the chart in order in increasing amounts of exposure. So you start out at I think he started it out at F22, going to 16 and going on down. Same thing with your shutter speed. You go from, I think he started his out at 1/2000th of a second, maybe even 1/1000th of a second, and went down. So 1/1000th down to 1/500th. Same thing with your ISO going down. You're going in increasing amounts of exposure. So you're going from ISO 50 to 100. It may look weird when you're looking at the chart, but that's the way it's designed. And I never, honestly, for me, I just memorized my f-stops, and I memorized my shutter speed, and I memorized my ISOs. I never thought to put the chart, in increasing amounts of exposure. That way to, makes it easier to work with, makes it easier to think about. So there it is.
I don't know if
Yep.
that's helpful or hurtful, but that's what I actually wrote out for my test.
Yep.
I don't know if that's visible or not.
I
Right.
did the same thing.
The only difference
Yes,
between
Rebecca,
yours
that's how I
and
have mine.
right, only difference between yours and the spreadsheet we handed out over the weekend was ours goes vertically instead of horizontally.
Mhm.
I don't know what difference that makes. Probably none.
It depends, I guess, on how you are comfortable reading, maybe, Chris. I don't know. This is the
Yeah.
standard one right here, the one you're showing.
Where is that from?
No, I do not know.
James, did you put that up?
There
I
we go.
thought
That's
I was
one of
up.
the charts I use for my classes when I teach
Right.
because it's a lot easier to follow. Let me see if I can put it back up again. There we go. Because like you said, you can see like up here in the top for F32, you can see everything's in focus. When you go to F1.4, it's a shallow depth of field. You can see the depth of field going across where it makes sense with the imagery and the f-stop. Also on the ISO, you can see the lack of noise in 50, and you go to 25/600, you can see the
Okay.
noise back here. That's what that representation of that color back there
Right.
at 6400 as well. And then on the 1/1000th frozen, and you go to 1/2 second where it's a blurred image. So
Right.
it just made more sense to me to look at it this way.
I like the examples there. And again, it is in, so you're increasing amount of exposure,
So, yeah.
increasing amount of exposure. Yes. Yeah. Same thing.
Hey, Rebecca.
She is
I,
there.
I, I think it's important to practice, though, doing it because you aren't going to be able to do all those visuals.
Right.
For me, I had to do it. I probably did it at least 10 times before the test to make sure that, and then compared it to truth to make sure that I had it down, because I was sitting there during the equivalent exposure things, counting up, counting down, and just having it really organized. I think it allowed me to pass the test. So
Yeah, one thing to be careful of on that chart there, James.
Yep.
And I know you talked about this in your class, is that third row down there where we had the ISO increasing.
Yeah.
That is not leading to increased exposure as much as just making the sensor more sensitive to the
Correct.
light.
Correct.
So, when they ask the exam as to which parameters will increase exposure, that's definitely, ISO is not one of them, but
Right.
But to the image, it'll make it brighter for sure. Yeah, you're right. Well, good. Well, it's 12:57 now, so 12:58 now, according to my computer. So it sounds like we're wrapping up. I just want to make one more plug here for Culver Art and Frame, who was good enough to kind of offer a deal to anybody on this call. So keep them in mind. They can be reached at 1-800-882-2298 or culver@culverframe.com, and I'll add that in there later in the video. But don't hesitate to call them. Like I say, I've worked with them for like 13 years now, and they are really good people. I had a couple of issues with frames. They fix it, no questions asked. Very easy to work with, very reliable. They've been around for an awful long time. They know what they're doing. They also do metal prints. They do gallery wraps. They do just about anything you could want. So would highly recommend them.
I think that's it, everybody.
Awesome.
Well, we'll see you guys later. Good luck, Deb, on your
Hi,
exam.
everybody.
Good luck, Ed.
Take a deep breath on each question, okay?
Thank you, Ron. We do have
Huh?
another session before,
Oh,
Chris, right?
Yeah, it's going to
Sunday.
be live. Remember, it's going to be live. It's going to be at the picnic.
At the
And we're going to
picnic,
talk
yeah.
about test taking strategies. That's why I wanted to
Okay.
get that back.
There you go. Don,
All right.
good luck, dude. Study
Thank
hard.
you. Thank
Chuck,
you.
nice to see you. Don, both Dons.
Congratulations, Ron.
Thanks, James. You have a
See you
great
guys.
day.
Bye.
All righty, guys. See you.